So shall we do this? Hello, Peter. Nice
Oh,
to meet you
hello,
again.
hello, Armin. Nice
One
to
week,
see you.
1 week without you is like being 7 years without alcohol.
Yeah, and without girls, yeah,
Yeah, he's just like
horrible,
a
horrible.
century without girls. Yeah, yes, that's
Without alcohol and girls.
How is life? Everything fine?
Everything fine because you said this. There's a nice quote, but I don't remember who said it. He said, "I spent all my money with gambling and girls. The rest of it I just wasted."
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
You,
new? What's
you
new
just
this?
you just turned the clock 1 year. You had your birthday last week or this week.
Oh yes, yes. My
Uh,
35th.
Happy birthday, 35.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
of
thank
course.
you,
But
thank
yeah,
you, thank you.
but you look a little more like 33, so it's fine.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, it's
because I have a nice cream,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice anti-wrinkle cream.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
What's wrong with this fucking
What?
shit here?
We don't say this. We can't say this on YouTube.
Really?
Uh,
So what's new? What are the newest, the conspiracies, newest ongoings?
yeah, that's like we were talking before, that in Canada they have now the law only with a passport. You can go in a restaurant in Switzerland, as I saw today. The
Yeah,
same, only with a passport that you have your double shots. But of course, what will come when they mandate then for the third shot, it doesn't help if you have your 2 shots. When you don't have a third shot, you don't go in a restaurant and in a gym and into they start now slowly first with some clothes shops and stuff like this, and later even grocery shops, and so
yeah,
can't go anywhere anymore. But
yeah.
it was funny last time this weekend I went to in where the Malta Archery range is. There's the university residence, and I went inside without a face mask. And then on the counter the lady said, "So you come in without a face mask? So, but you're not vaccinated." I said, "Yes, I had my 2 shots. Vodka." Sorry, what? But I have 2 shots. So then she was laughing.
And as I said some months before, very evil things are happening. Because you heard the story of this guy in Germany who shot another guy on a gas station.
No.
This guy, he was 49 years old, went to a gas station shop and wanted to buy some 6-pack of beer. And there was a 20-year-old student working there at the cashier's desk. And the guy went in without a mask, and this young guy said, "Oh, no mask," and so on. They had a kind of discussion, and then the old guy leave the shop, and after 1.5 hours, he went back, and again walked in with a mask and took beer and went to the cashier's desk, and then they had a discussion again, and the old guy drew a revolver and shot the young guy in the head.
Okay. Well.
And that's horrible.
But this is how far we are with this mainstream media brainwash.
Yeah.
People believe this.
Yeah. Because
this is really shit.
Because it had 2 sides. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they had very strict rules from the management that the young guy has to say this to
it's a law. Even if you go here in a restaurant, they will tell you when you don't have a mask. Even if you're vaccinated, you still need to wear a mask when you go inside.
Yeah, but what is happening now is that this gets politicized.
Of course.
And now they say all these how do you call them, demonstrators, that anti-vaxxers movement, and that you know, now the politicians say, look, you are like that. He killed a young guy just because mask discussions and so on. Yeah. So they put them in a violent.
Of course.
Yeah.
They find always a reason to blame.
They use it. They use it.
Yeah, of course.
Use it. Yeah.
Use it to a benefit. Yeah.
Because
and enough people, or let's say enough people are stupid enough to still believe this.
Yeah.
They still didn't figure out how they are screwed. But hey, it's like it is.
Yeah. And interesting enough, the FDA, the US
Food
Food and Drug
Association or something,
or agency, they strictly don't recommend that third shot.
Of course.
And here over.
Yeah. And in Israel, they think about already the fourth shot.
Yeah.
And they see what is going to, they see, I mean, of course, they don't give out the real numbers of all the side effects people have now of the first two shots already. And when you ask a virologist, he said, please, if you got your first two shots, was already a mistake, but please don't take a third one, because you multiply this effect in your body, and it's like a time bomb. So please don't. But people still, no, I need my third shot now. But as you said, maybe some people, they didn't want to, and said, okay, for Christ's sakes, I take these two shots, and now they come and want to limit me again. I have to take a third shot and saying, no, it's enough.
Yeah, I think that is a kind of breaking point.
And I hope these are enough people that say that is enough, because it really is.
And as we talked before, to me, it's very simple to understand that if they invented this vaccination for the first mutation, for the alpha virus, so to say, variant, and now we have the Delta. What is interesting enough, because what is now we have for a long time this Delta, and there's no new mutations. I don't know. So it's very simple to understand that the variant for the Alpha, if we say, okay, this is nice, it's good vaccination for this virus, so it can't work for the Delta because every influenza shot is working just for this year, for this one virus, by luck, by coincidence, because they don't know how these mutations are working every year, going on every year. So I don't understand.
And the best thing of this is that even the third, or what they call the booster, is the same crap which was in the first two shots. It's the complete same content, because they are still the same charges of shots they have. So you don't get anything else which could protect you from a Delta or Epsilon or whatever variant. It's bullcrap. People, no, give me.
They have here some funny, the MU mutation, the mutation, like a
mumu. Okay.
Mumu.
Okay, it's a nice word. You know, some people say mumu too, but it's okay.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mumu before you.
Mutation. Yeah, and even our lovely Christian Drosten said he got two shots, and now the best would be he would get infected, and then
they can build up antibodies. Of course, that's why we have an immune system, and we have 1 billion viruses in our body, and there are always deadly viruses in our body, but we have an immune system. But of course, if you live your life and you only eat crap food, and you drink always way too much, and you smoke way too much, and you treat your body like whatever, like very bad, of course an easy flu has a bigger reaction on you than on a healthy person. It's normal, because you stress your immune system already to the limit with what you eat and what you do all the time. Even deodorants and whatever, all these stuff has influences your immune system. So it's already under stress. Runs already on level on red.
And it has to be.
The virus comes and then it snaps, obviously.
And maybe the third generation will be immune, because our bodies fought this virus and so on.
We know it, and we give it on with our genes, of course.
And now they're making just the opposite, because if they, I also speak about children, if they keep distance, if they don't shake hands, if they don't fight at school, if they don't cuddle around in school,
they get all the social mental damage.
That and they don't get the bacteria and the viruses from the other children, and so they will get sick.
Why are we still healthy, Peter? Because when we were young, we were playing in the dirt
with the shit,
a mouth full of dirt and whatever. You know, we didn't wash directly because we touched something bad, and we didn't sanitize it directly, and we built up antibodies. But nowadays, the kids, they are raised like in a glass house, and nothing can come to them. I saw last time a mother, she went in a restaurant and she was spraying the whole table and all chairs and everything. It was smelling. I was just eating, but everything was smelling of this sanitizer, that she could sit her kid on one of these chairs, and then she was wiping the kid's hands before I mean, let these kids eat some dirt.
Yeah.
And then they can build up antibodies.
You know, I have a nice kind of cousin, and he had when his girls were small, little, I think 3 years or 2 years, and they had big dogs. And they ordered a pizza from somewhere, and the pizza was cut, and the dog went by and grasped a piece of this pizza, and the little girl walked to the dog, took the pizza from his mouth.
Of course. It was my little sister when she was very small. We had a boxer dog, and he was laying in the corner in the kitchen, and he was eating some bones, chewing on them, and then she went to him on her fur, and he didn't do anything because they are under this puppy. And she was and she gave it to him again, and he was biting, and then they were eating the bone, and it was fun, and we didn't freak out. My sister is still alive, by the way.
I'm sure you also had dirty doctor games with the girls when you were a boy.
No, I don't know. No. But you can tell us from experience. I can hear that in your tonality. You have a lot of experience.
Yes, we took a straw, you know, and put them in their ass for the temperature, for the thermometer, you know.
Okay.
Measuring temperature. Then we looked at the straw. Oh, you got fever.
No, so this far we didn't go, but it's okay.
It was nice. It was funny. Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Because I had birthday and we talked a little about beer. A very good friend of mine, Fritz from Tyrol, brought me original from The Simpsons Duff beer.
Nice. Oh, cool. And how is the taste?
It's a lager beer. It's very how is it called? But not buttered. So how is it by Bavarian beer called? I don't know. Like that.
I don't know. I'm not a beer drinker.
Me neither. But this cool one, I have to.
Yeah, I'm more if I drink a beer, I like more Pilsener. You know, more the bitter ones.
Yeah.
It's more like I don't like the sweet or even the white, you know, the Weiss beer in Germany. It was like I drank it once and it wasn't. It's disgusting. I don't like it at all. It needs to be really ice cold, otherwise I don't.
Yeah, ice cold and with a lemon and it's very hot outside. Then such a Weiss beer is not too bad. White beer.
No, even a Pils. When I drink a Pils, like whatever, Moretti or whatever there is. No, Millie.
She's crazy. She's like, I always say, she's like a third world child because she picks up some trash from the garden or from the waste paper basket and plays with these little papers and nylon stuff, and like the poor kids in Africa playing on the, you know.
And maybe the smell, because they have a very, very good smell system. Maybe they she simply likes the smell of this stuff.
Yeah.
It smells a little rotten or whatever. She likes it. Yeah.
What's new in archery?
Good question.
Some new inventions. We talked last podcast. We talked about what's new.
The thing is, we get restricted so much because many people do archery because they can go to competitions. And now the biggest problem in Germany and in the UK is that a thumb ring, which protects your thumb when you shoot, is considered a release aid. And then they don't allow you to shoot it. So the horse bow archers, I call them, or thumb shooters, they need to shoot then in the open class, which is the compound class, where you can shoot everything. And how
sounds great.
Sounds great. They allow a leather top. When you have a leather protection, they allow. But where is then the limit? This is now a leather top. They allow that. This is leather. They need to allow that. This is made out of leather.
Yeah.
Boiled leather, but this is already.
Yeah.
So, but that's why you, of course, make it a bit hard for new inventions right now, because that's limitations,
That's why I kind of hate this archery tournament community. Because if you think, on the other hand, these Olympic archers, they have strict, also the compound archers, their rules are very clear and also kind of logic. You have a sight and you have this and that and put on whatever you want and it's okay. And in this so-called traditional, here's that. And then they had bows, wooden bows, and is this kind of backing and and so on.
Then you have a slightly reflex deflex long bow, but it could be already a recurve bow.
Yeah. And if it depends on this shit, or like some guys, it was of course prohibited, forbidden. They drilled their longbow handles and put lead in it or some heavy stuff, because it's
it weight in air, of course.
If I'm depending on that shit, that the bow is a little more heavy.
Yeah. The time I waste with this, I would practice more, I guess.
Yeah. Learn to shoot, and you don't need this shit.
Exactly. Yeah, but then they come even up when you have in traditional bows. Sometimes your riser has kind of like the structure of the wood, the grain of the wood.
Yeah.
And I said, you need to cover this because you could use it for aiming.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
If you're able to use this for aiming, then congratulations.
You win every competition. But it's hilarious. But it's simply, I think all these tournament, I don't know, regulators come from, I don't know, Olympic or something. They don't want to have their field invaded by someone else.
I had to deal with some from this Austrian ÖBSV, that how you call it, Austrian Association of all the archers, official, and they had trainings, masters, and kind of degrees, hierarchies, and they're making these seminars there, and then they are allowed to train others. They don't know nothing. They don't have any idea from shooting and from.
I know.
But okay, that's bureaucracy. That's what our society is made of. Bureaucracy.
I had it here too in Malta. One of my really early students, he runs now his own archery range, and he once came up, I'm now an archery instructor. And then I checked his certificate, and you can buy this for 50 euros or 50 pounds, I think, in the UK or in America. And you fill out some online form. You never train one person. You was never out and training one person in real how to do safe, whatever. Completely theoretical, but he's an archery instructor now. Bomba. Cool.
Yeah.
I wonder why it took me 20 over to.
Same here. So because you talked about this thumb ring stuff, we also got some questions about three-finger shooting.
Yep.
And
there's still three-finger shooters. Okay, it's fine.
Yes, but on the other hand, they are using a thumb ring just to look more beautiful.
Fancy.
But there it's very simple. The question was if they should use a tap or a glove and so on. When I started archery, I strictly used taps. I made them on my own. I cut out from a leather, you know, with 2 holes. Like I think I saw them at also at Saxon Boat Book and so on. There were some patterns.
Yep.
And of course, you can very easily make them yourself. You just need kind of thicker leather, and they get better and better because you get a groove from the string and you wax it a little and so on. Very nice. But when I started to get more interested in bow hunting, here's a kind of tap, you know, it's kind of more of a target tap, but okay. When you're working with a back weave and so you get the knock in between here and between the leather and so on, and so it's not so practical for back weaver usage. And so I switched over to three-fingered gloves. We started with kind of this type. Which are very nice gloves, because the other type with the shorter finger stalls, you also sometimes can get the knock in between here when you grasp back also. Not with this kind of
the safest version.
And it's and just for a tip, just buy it smaller than you think, because it should be fit very tight. And then soak it in warm water and leave it on overnight. Play with your girlfriend with the glove, and then in the next morning it is like John Wayne's shooting glove. Yes, there are different brands. The best ones back then were made by Martin Archery in the United States, of deer skin, and so they were very nice. But they are not especially slick here in most cases, and yes. But when you're a beginner, you get a good feel for the string, and so these are good beginner gloves in my opinion.
I think you should not have at the beginner one with a very, very dense.
The softer the better.
I had the problem I had with these gloves. I got them because I was a bear paw reseller here, and I had these bear paw gloves, and mostly the fingers were too long. So even when you pressed them completely back, there was always still a little bit in the front, and this is it's horrible.
Look here.
Horrible. They really need to. You need to have the fingertips completely in the front.
And you know what? Back then, when I started archery, they were made in the USA. And nowadays they are made in Pakistan. And they don't know anything about the pattern. Look here. You can put here a second finger in this area. So it's not a very nice product. And they've, in most cases, they have a kind of Velcro fastener here with a rubberized fabric. So these are not bad. And one nice version of this idea is this big shot glove. It is made by American Leathers by James Schultz, the son of Jim Schultz. But I think then he sold the business and now they're made by a different guy. But you see how well is this made? Here it's rounded. This is elk skin or buffalo leather, and they fit very nice. And I have this one for, I can tell you, from 2006. And very well made. Here is neoprene. So this is stretching, you see?
Okay, I see. Yeah.
It's nice. And here is some kind of very slick, you know, like the fabric from safety belts or so, like that, very slick. And they are very, very strong here. And you have a real nice release because the string flips out. It's very nice. This kind of something in between this style, which is closed here, and the usual
dangling ones.
The usual 3-finger gloves. What are my favorites? In mostly, I'm using here. I have a very old one. This is the oldest one. It's with the old Howard Hill logo on. They have a nice, you know, you can adjust this button here, and
nice.
And they have you have. I always make it like that. Wet my fingers and put the fingers in, because
some have to do that. Yeah, I know.
Because the problem with them is they come up. So you between every shot you have to make like that. But they're very nice, and they have very strong kind of plastic inserts sewed in. They are lined with a second layer of leather, and in between these layers is you can see it here. It's a sheet of kind of plastic or something, and so you don't feel any just feel the pressure, but not where the string is. And with this type, if you're an experienced archer, in my opinion, you have the best and fastest release, because the string comes out without any.
It's even only for higher poundages, I guess. So 50 plus could use this. I mean, it doesn't make sense to have a 20-pound bow and shoot this.
There, look at them. They get really nice worn in if you use them a lot, and they fit like yeah, it's nice. I like them.
But you still, in some videos of you, see yourself shooting, and then you get the arrow. You
always
this is already a habit of you.
Yeah, but maybe that's the drawback. But it comes so naturally. So you're making this. It's even you don't wasting time with it. You're making like that, and no problem.
Of course.
Yeah, there I have another.
So do you think it's what is now more used in hunting? I guess more 3-finger gloves than taps, right?
I think this type is.
So you don't use a tap for hunting?
I know some guys, and they love their taps.
Okay. Because
on the other hand, with hunting, you have no trouble with speed in most cases. If you're on a tree stand, you prepare your arrow. You don't have to pull the arrow, or you carry it in your bow hand, the arrow, and then you don't have a lot of troubles with knocking and so on. So of course it's also practicable. But on the other hand, a lot of bow hunters are Howard Hill fans, and Howard Hill use this kind of glove. I have the other one I have in my. No, just a moment. I have to show you another version of that, what I even like more. This one is also made by American Leathers by John Schultz. And this one you could order. You send them a trace of your hand, and they especially made them for you. And they really, like you say, they fit like a glove. You see a little longer stars, and so very nice. I had to turn this because I always shorten that straps a little so they don't come off that easy. Very nice made.
Nice.
Yeah. Just one moment.
It's time to prepare. Remember, the 5th of November. We're joking. Not really. One moment. Oh, there he goes. There he is. Everything close. Every archery items are close. Yes, I like.
That's a Bateman glove. It's the same glove Byron Ferguson uses.
Okay.
And the difference to the Howard Hill, they're very similar. And also Cherry Hill says the original ones, what Hill used, were kind of with that open in front, even sometimes more open. And now since I get familiar with this one, I practice with this one, I like that style even more.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very sleek and very hard. Nice glove.
Yeah, it depends but you knock like this so it doesn't interfere, because with leather thumb rings for, you know, for thumb shooting. There are open ones too, like, or whatever you have, like this one. I don't. Like you have this one, but then you have this flap here, and when I load, I push the arrow forwards alongside the string, and I lift my thumb, click and push back, that I can load fast. And with this one, I always get stuck. So that's why I don't like the open ones. For me, it's then better to have something like this one. It's actually from a horse archeress. It's from Gracie Lee Ledoux, somewhere in Texas, I think. She's 20 years old, does Schwarzbecker. She made me some. And this is closed in front, so you don't have to.
Who knows what for she made this one for you?
Yeah, I showed her. It's just joking. She made me simply 3, and then they were in the post since months, and then now they came. They're just nice. They do the job.
Yeah. What I like to tell you about this baitman is nice. Look, this is the kind the fastening of the Howard heel, and this one is very nice because it's kind different, and so you have more tension here, more holds, and so they don't come off that easy.
Fancy stuff.
Yeah, nice.
And you were talking last time when I showed my finger protection. There's some fancy, you know, some SM stuff, and you have it. Yeah. So what?
Funny story. A very good friend of mine, one of my best friends, he died many years ago, and we went into a bar, and because he liked to brag a little and so on, and so he had his glove on when we walked into the bar, and the barmaid said, "What is this for?" And I said, "For you." Not he said, not I said. He said, "You know, for usually it's for women when you're making love, so they can scratch your back."
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Because you said sadomaso stuff.
SM means small and mediocre.
Medium. Yeah. Small and medium. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. What all you need is a glove.
So you think then a glove?
A bracer.
A bracer you only need when you shoot the longbow.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but you know that. So, but
and to look cool.
I think for Olympic archery, a tap is useful.
Yeah.
Then you have these, even this with this aluminum inside, so you don't even that your hand is completely flat, and then you have your 3 fingers under, nice and properly.
Kind of square on top, so they have it exactly on their chin and so on.
I think for this kind of shooting, it's nice.
And for this string walking, they
of course.
use the tap because they kind of have a system with the stitches here, and so many stitches below and so on.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. I don't like taps. I mean, I tried them a few times. It's for me like, it feels like awkward thing in my fingers. So then then I shot with gloves, but usually I prefer to train my fingers. So sometimes you can wash it or put some Febreze on it.
Yeah, you know, this one I used for hunting, so, and there's kind of little blood there, and it's full of sweat, so it's full of memories. It's a very short one, because if you, like you say, if you shoot the longbow, you just need it
only in front here.
Here in front, because the string hits you. If it hits you there. Yeah. I used to make them myself back then.
Yeah, makes sense.
Very simple.
Yeah.
And also with these punched holes, it's not a bad idea because it protects, but it prevents from sweating. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like this is also a very nice one.
Yes.
And it's very hard and slick leather on the outside, but it's you know how you call it?
Suede.
Raw leather.
Raw leather. I don't know. Suede.
Suede leather.
Yeah, suede.
Yeah, so it don't moves on this side, but here it's very slick, very nice.
Yeah, and it needs to be slick on the outside because when the string hits, it should not.
Yeah, and a nice system. You see, you just put this leather strap around that hooks, and then you fasten it here.
Right in the end, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so tap, glove.
Mm-hmm.
What more?
String?
I don't know. String.
Can we talk
Yes.
about strings?
Just because of the
But
string.
I mean the bowstrings, okay?
Not the G string.
No.
String walking, that would be a nice,
I
competition, a string walking event.
I'm
and
completely
they walk
with you. Yeah. And I have my 3 fingers under. No, wait.
Three fingers. You're more the thumb guy, the 3 finger guy.
You need to sometimes your 3 fingers and but it's too much. It's shut up now.
Yeah, so you see, there's a lot of dirty stuff in archery.
No, this simply with you, one cannot talk seriously. This is not possible.
I don't start this.
No, you started string walking now.
Yeah.
I drink my blue water.
I like to make a kind of new tournament with shooting and so, and in the evening there's a string walking event.
String walking competition, yeah. So strings.
Strings. Okay.
What strings do you use? You said I think once you like to use.
Show us yours.
Nah, I'm a bit shy. You use fast flight, right?
Yeah, when we started, and it was also kind of a religious thing. There's only Dacron. Dacron B50 was the standard.
Yeah,
and
I think it's still a standard.
Yeah, and you need at least 16 strands, and some made 18 strands and so on. So these were very fat and very, how you call it, stretchy.
Yeah.
And made a lot of boom when you shot, and a lot of vibrations and so.
Yeah.
And they said the bows will break if you use fast flight. If they don't build for fast flight, you can't use fast flight. The bows were horrified by fast flight. Yeah. And then over the years, I got an English longbow from Australia, and there was a fast flight string on. I thought, oh well, so. And then I came to that Howard Hill style bows, and they had this fiber wedge in the limbs with no overlay, because I said fast flight you can just use with tip overlays and so on. But I started to use them. My friends also started to use them, and then I switched to very thin strings because I like that dry sound, ding, without any vibration and so on. So I reinforced the serving, so the knock would fit that thin string, and I had very nice experiences with them. And what's important, we just used these Flemish kind of braided strings. But then I saw some pictures. Howard Hill was using just endless strings in most cases. And then I thought about it, and I thought, these are the fastest strings because they have no twist in them. You even could shoot them untwisted if you like so.
Yeah.
And so I thought every twist is a kind of source of stretch and so on. And so I started using just endless. I still have some bows with Flemish. It's okay. It don't depends on that.
This Flemish thing came up when, like when you order a longbow, one piece wood longbow, and they make them not always, let's say, exactly 72.
With that
sometimes
lower
it's a little long, and then the lower one is open, so you can adjust it accordingly to the length of what the bow is.
That's a horrible thing if you think about it.
Of course.
Because it never is the same and so on.
Yeah, and there's not this stretching, and you really need to fiddle around. And I mean, on horse bows you only have endless loops. So they had even in ancient times where the loop was a different material, and then there was the string, and then the other loop. So they're 3-parted strings, and they worked just the best. So they had thicker parts on where the string was knocked on the bow, and the string by itself was a different thinner material.
I have seen even endless strings. They had the serving just to the lower end of the loop, and the loop was the pure string material. Yeah. And what's also interesting, I had very bad experiences, not me, but other people. They are really string-eating bows.
Yeah.
If the string grooves are sloppy made and not to the right angle made, they cut the strings.
Yeah.
And that's
one thing I had with bear paw. I had even these black.
I didn't like to mention the name of the brand.
I can tell you from experience, I had two of these black Kiowa special edition. These are these nice recurve bows, and the strings, they lasted, I don't know, 2 weeks, and then I was checking the string grooves, and they were sharp like blades. You could cut your fingers. And then I said to bear paw, look. Then I said, yeah, you can send it back and we send it down, or you take 1,000 grit sandpaper and send it down. So look, it's a bow, costs 700 euros. I don't want to send something on this bow or tell my customer, look, now you need to fiddle on your string grooves.
But there are only master bowers at bear paw, master bowers.
This is what I did not. This is quality control as its worst.
And it's not only the sharp edge, it's also the angle.
The angle, of course. Yeah. So some bows are really...
Look. I was at the bear paw company, not factory, because
they built somewhere else. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, and these makers, till noon they made wooden steering wheels for cars, and in the afternoon they made bows. That's a fact. So they had no idea about bow making. Henry Bodnik had one guy, I think his name was Unger, and he was the master bower. And so he made a kind of prototype, and then they gave this prototype to the Czech company, and then they worked.
Mass production.
That's the truth. Yeah. Yeah. When they made I made a deal when we were in Indianapolis at the ATA with Byron Ferguson and Henry Bodnik, and so they made a Ferguson signature bow made by bear paw. This bow had a handle so clumsy, you could even a woman couldn't shoot it because and so on, and the limbs were like that wide, like skiers and so on. And I said, what about that grip? It's so clumsy and so on. Then it bends if it's not like that. And I showed them an American. I said, look at this, it's like that, and nothing bends. And then they were angry about me, of course.
Yeah, there you see the difference of a guy who knows bow building and a guy who copies things and has no idea. I don't say now that bear paw or something does this, I even see it in some bows. They are nice, but when you draw back, you feel the handle bending, and other bows don't have this. So if some can build it without, then others could do it too. Then it's simply lack of knowledge or...
And that's why I'm a fan of American bows, because they do this since the 1940s and 50s, and they have a lot of experience. And know how to make their stuff.
Yeah, that's true. But even the snake bow, I got once a fast flight string of a guy. He builds fast flight string for snake bows, and I tested it and did a comparison between the normal string and the fast flight string, and was a little louder, maybe a little bit faster, but not really much. But then Archery reached out to me and said, listen, the snake bows are not made to be shot with fast flat string.
But nothing happened.
No, I only shot it a few times, but then I put it away.
You know what? That's also a horrible thing with this string-eating bows, because if you have a very old, well-shot duck horn string, it won't stretch anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you have an old Dacron string, it's very close to a fast flight string.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you
It's
have to
only
change
more
the
mess
string
because
every
it's
3 months because the string is damaged, you always have a new Dacron string on it. So it is always
it's always stretching and always wobbling. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's why, guys, when you get a bow with a normal Dacron string, don't put the knocking point on directly. Shoot the bow first 100 times until the string sets, until the string stretches. Because some people, they string the bow first time, put a knocking point on it, and they shoot 30 arrows, and then the knocking point is there, and they, what the heck?
When I'm making, I don't make strings anymore, but back then I made Dacron strings for my own, these twisted ones. And when I put them on, I brace the bow like that, and then I push the bow and the string like that, not draws, but because then it really stretches.
That's true.
And then you make some 100 shots, like you say, and then the string is finished.
And it still can stretch a bit. So.
When we were at the 3D tournaments, we always made a kind of joke when we were at the, lunch station in the woods, and everyone leaned his bow somewhere, and special friends, and they unstrung the bow, of course, they had to, especially the primitive wooden bow shooters.
Yeah.
And then we turned the string around, and then they braced the string, and they said, what's wrong here? Very bad joke. Don't do it.
Don't touch any other's equipment.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say now something about strings. Now I forgot. See, with your story, I forgot. No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
What was first? What we took
about string silencers? Yeah. So it was probably if Dacron string, then you need most probably string silencers because
and what is sorry?
I know. Or what is the sound when you shoot your? Is it ding? Because they say that this loud ping can irritate the prey.
You don't have it with hill style bows, in my opinion.
Okay.
But if you really go hunting, then I use string silencers, but I only use these rubber cat whiskers. They are, them, because I always had like made of fur twisted around. They had kind of beaver fur, or I don't know. Or
the most famous company in America is Hairy Beaver. The Hairy Beaver. Yeah, that's right.
I see. And but I found out they are making more noise than without them. Or a different kind of sound, but they're making sound even if they get wet and then dry and so again. Wool is also not bad. You put wool just between the braided and then it's but the best ones, in my opinions, are these rubber silencers. Yeah.
And you can simply put them on the string. You don't have to fiddle them through the strands.
Yes, right? You can tie it on with Dacron or with some thread.
Nice.
Yeah.
Strings. Do you wax your strings? Do you need to wax fast flight?
I do it, but in reality, I don't think you need to.
I mean, with the Dacron strings like we have on the snake bows, you see when they shot very often, then they start getting all these small hairs.
Yes. Then I string them a little. I wax them a little, and so on.
And you wax it, you rub it in, and you leave it, or you take a piece of and put the excess away. I saw a video.
No, I'm using like kind of this tab, a piece of leather, and then I very fast rub it so it melts inside string.
Yeah, but you don't put the excess away. That you put a little bit of string surfing, and then you make a loop and you put the excess off.
No, when I'm ready with doing that, it's like a monochord, like one chord. It melts together.
Nice. Okay.
Yes, very nice, very essential. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that is a part of maintenance you should take care. If this is
Yep.
the part
Yep.
of your bow which gets the most stress, the string.
Yep. And because you're talking about string wax, it's also nice if you have a wooden bow or a long bow or a kind of traditional bow. Don't these Asiatic bows I don't know about, but if you go out hunting, it's not a bad idea to put a coat of string wax or beeswax on the surface of the bow.
Okay.
It's a kind of protection when you are on a stone, on a rock or so, or and also a kind of moisture protection.
Yeah.
And it dials down the shine of the bow.
Yeah. True.
So it's not. And if you back home, you take a piece of clothes and you polish it, and it's shiny again. So I like that.
Makes sense. Cool. And normal beeswax, what did you use, or did you get string wax from companies?
Back then, I made my own string wax. It was made of beeswax, and I don't know what is it called. It was we in German it is Ferkelpech. You know, it's a kind of grinded. What is Harz? Sap.
Sap, I think. Yeah.
It's a kind of grinded sap from pines and firs, and they use them. You know, when you kill a pig on the farm, you kill it, and then you have a boiling water device, and then at first you put this dust from this sap on the boar, and you rub it, and then you're pouring the hot water over it, and then you can remove the hairs. You know, you have a kind of back then they made it with an old spoon, or they kind of a little bell. It looked like a bell, and you can rub off the hair comes like waxing, like the ladies wax their
hot wax,
parts like that. Okay. And you had to mix the beeswax with this powder.
Okay.
Because if you use only beeswax, it flies off from the string because it's not sticky enough. And this stuff is kind of sticky, and if you heat it with this rubbing, it was very sticky on the string.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing, what maybe is interesting in connection with string silencers and that all is about arrows. When you're out hunting or even at the tournament and it's very moisty or rainy or so, how to protect your feathers. You can use hairspray, of course. Hunters don't do it because of the smell. There were around special powders you rubbed in. It was feather dry powder. I don't know what it was. I think it was a kind of talcum or like that. Yes. And there's another method. I think I haven't prepared it, but there are little nylon bags around for making milk for the babies. It's like a nylon bottle, very soft. And if you put, and we put them on like that. This is now just from the cigarette, but you know, like that. So it was completely covering the feathers. And the opening was here. So when you knock the arrow and you shot it, and this comes off.
Okay.
You understand? Next time I will look for such a bag. It's a very nice idea.
Because I just thought you could use a condom, but you need to fiddle it off and then put the arrow on. Takes a lot of time. This makes sense.
Nate Steen showed that trick to me, and it's very clever.
Smart, yeah.
So you have in your quiver, you have the protection like that over the feathers. It's like to that point, and you just pull it out and knock it like usually you do, and you shoot and it comes off. And
super.
Yeah,
That's
very
nice.
interesting.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, it's a nice trick.
Yeah.
And if they get wet, I'm sure most of the archers know, if they are very like that, and so you put them over the tea kettle with the steam. You can.
Oh, I tried this a few times. It was not very successful. I don't know. Maybe I'm too stupid for that. I simply reflect.
It works. It works. Okay. It works.
Maybe I'm not patient enough. Can be.
You need a tea kettle with a small, you know.
Okay, I have.
So it's this kind of a steam.
Okay.
Steam. How do you call it? Like a little pressure.
Yes, I understand.
Comes out, and then it wettens the feathers, and they are like new again.
Okay. Knocking points. Because I see many people, they have 2 knocking points on the bow that they know where they have to put the arrow.
I don't know. It's like for handicapped people, I think, because if you have one, you know it.
Yeah. And then the second thing is when they are too close together, because they make them now that the knock just fits, and then you pull back and then
they squeeze the arrow.
Yeah. Makes no sense. So it's enough when you have one knock. You use these metal knocks, or do you use some twine?
Back then, I just used knocking points made of thread. With glue, you know, I put glue on the string and so, and some knots and so. But when it's about more tricks and fast shooting, the brass ones are better because you feel them, you really feel them when the arrow is on. And there are also some different schools, Howard Hill and also John Schultz, they made the knocking point below the arrow.
Yeah, I know.
I tried it. I don't like it because I put the arrow on the string and push it up.
Exactly. And even when you just by accident or what you let go, the arrow is underneath and stays underneath because of it lays here because on the arrow rest.
Don't comes up.
It can't slide off when you have it above. Then you can slide up.
Yeah. I don't know, but John shoots and they made it that way.
Yeah, even Mihai shoots like this. He knocks from above and pushes down and then shoots. But what works for you? I mean, you need to find out what works for you.
Yeah.
And you need to be careful because they're always with these metal ones, with these brass ones, they're different diameters. So you need to be very careful that you don't take the small one and tighten it too hard, because I had this often. I saw it often. Then the center serving breaks after a few shots. It comes off.
And on the other hand, if they're too big, they don't fit. They start to slide.
Or you have the small one and you can't close it completely, and then it stays open. This is a very sharp edge, and
you're damaging the gloves and so on.
So you need to be careful.
So back then they had not. I think they hadn't different sizes, but they had the bigger ones, and with the small pliers they snapped off 2 millimeter. So they made it custom made them.
I only know, again, need to refer to Bear Paw because we had then these 3 sizes, small, middle, and large.
That's good. And for example, the knocking point pliers they sell, this is a very good tool. Because I also know this American Bear and so on, but the Bear Paw pliers are very nice.
Good, and especially they have this sharp front, so you can open a knocking point again without damage.
And you have 2 sizes. Of the because I have a very old bear archery one and the other commons one, you know, with the red grips, and they had very sharp edges, these pliers, and so they were not so fine made like the Bear Paw ones. That's also true.
That's some good stuff they had.
Even at least the pliers are
exactly, the pliers were top notch. Top notch. Okay. It's you need to be careful with knocking points. It's not you can't overlook it. So you need to take care.
And what I even don't understand is people shooting without the knocking point, because you have so many sources for mistakes in archery. So you don't need to put one more difficulty to that
The thing
whole
is,
thing.
I agree, when you have a bow with an arrow rest or a shelf, makes sense because the arrow is always in the same position. If you have a horse bow and you're not very experienced and you grab the bow sometimes a little higher or sometimes a little lower, you don't have always exact same position where you hold the bow, which can happen with a bow like this, and you have a knocking point, then you change, of course, everything. So then it would make sense.
But but that's true what you're saying. But if you're not able to grasp your bow handle always the same style, then you're also not able to put the arrow on the exact spot on the knock. So then you have just one problem, and there you have two problems. So that's
and I
my
still
opinion.
can shoot good with it, so it's fine. Yeah, but of course it makes sense to have a knocking point even on a horse bow,
especially when you're a starter, beginner, because
makes your life easy.
So you don't hit the target. Maybe you made a nice shot, but just this shit was not right. So
you should always take out all difficulties.
And one more thing, without the knocking point, you have to look at the bow when you're knocking. Yeah.
This is then when you shoot fully. I don't want to say now again instinctively for a combat situation. I don't look because you feel, you know, the hand relation to the other hand when you knock. You know that it's here or there, so you get the feeling for it.
Yeah, but what's wrong with the knocking point?
No, nothing. Just so you can get the feeling for it. If you want to.
Of course.
That's why always you need to try everything and then figure out what works for you and then stick with it. And
yeah.
Duftbier.
Some more highly sophisticated wisdoms for our viewers.
No, I don't know.
What do you think? What kind of people are the other folks watching our podcast?
Yeah, it's a good question. Some people, I think, like that we have different opinions, and I simply like, first of all, there are many, they simply see, okay, there are two guys that have already a few decades of knowledge and experience, which they simply share. And sometimes there are really some small bits and pieces in a 2-hour session. There's maybe one sentence, which is really useful.
One is interesting.
Exactly, but that is worth it. It's sometimes like you read a book about something and you think in one page, one sentence, you think that makes the book.
You know what? Sometimes or let it say it the other way around, even if you're watching a bad movie, you can learn something.
Of course.
And if there's one trick, one interesting thing in that movie,
it was worth it.
Was worth watching.
Exactly. And I think these are simply a mix, but we have simply in the archery community, some people, they are open-minded enough to watch our stuff and they find it interesting. And I think what they mostly enjoy is when we invite different people to the show and because everybody brings in some different knowledge, you know, from Tink and from Jeff and all the, you know, Murat.
Tink, we have to get him again.
Tink again.
Yeah. I think our biggest follower is Krause.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure he's watching every episode, and he's our biggest fan.
I blocked him from my YouTube channel. I don't know, most probably he made once another YouTube channel, only that he could comment on one of my videos again. And then I figured who it is, and I was like, yeah, it's fine.
He commented also bad. Today I deleted some of his comments from Facebook because he talked bad about Mac.
Yep.
And I don't understand this. I don't
understand if somebody can do something better than him. As I said, I had this challenge, who can shoot faster, because he is a fast shooter. He has 10 arrows in his hand and he shoots them. I said, look, and then you need to reload them here. I can hold here 10 arrows and I reload here. Let's do a competition. Let's shoot 100 arrows. Who is faster then? Because then, or 50, I think. Then you need to reload, grab a new bunch of arrows and shoot. And I did the video. I managed, I don't know, in 2 minutes or something. And then he started doing the video. And first he didn't have enough arrows, so he shot only shafts. And then he started missing. Then the arrows fell down. And that's a shitty competition. Yeah, but he was challenging me first. So don't challenge me then. or but you shoot thumb release.
But I tell you,
you need to shoot. No, but he said me then, yeah, but you shoot thumb release. You need to shoot 3 fingers that we are comparable. I said, no, we shoot bow and arrow. It doesn't matter which style.
Yeah. I don't know. But
you shot a 30-pound bow. Then I did a video. Look, I shoot 10 arrows in under 30 seconds with a 55-pound bow.
I had contact with him, and on the other hand, he's a kind of nice guy. I don't understand why he is like that.
You need to wait, and you need to keep your books safe. You know what he did with the Archer, with the book The Archer, because he fell a little in love with Carol.
Oh, really?
He thought she has something for him. She didn't. And then he didn't like this. And then I was a liar and a fraud and whatever. And Carol, and then he announced the book burning on Facebook, and he did live. He burned the book, The Archer.
I think I saw it, but it's the best advertising you can get.
Oh, hey, at least a few people afterwards ordered the book, I guess.
I really hope he will burn mine too.
Yeah, let's burn some books. No, but you need to.
I sent him one.
Please burn it, and directly a bottle of lighter fluid.
Yeah.
and the lighter, and said, you know what to do. No, but you need to see the mental state of a person like this. And then calling himself master, martial archery instructor, whatever, I mean, yeah, if you need to call yourself like this,
It's okay. It's okay. Mm-hmm. But if you're calling yourself this or that, you also should have the inner strength to be it.
Yeah, this is what I mean. The thing is, when you have the inner strength to be it, you don't call yourself these things. You know what I mean?
No, if it's like marketing, like advertising, it's okay to do it. Yeah. But on the other hand, you can't be a small evil guy picking on other people. Then you have to be a star.
Yeah, of course.
And you never, you will see a real star talking bad about other people, because they know you always meet twice.
No, of course.
And so I don't understand. To me, he was always nice. And on one more thing.
Okay.
And if he likes to be friend with me, and I invite, or yes, I say I'm inviting some people to my show, then he has to respect our choice, and he can make a comment about it, and he can say it's all fake, no problem, but not in a with hate, with it's kind of hate speech. I hate the word. I hate the
but
word.
You have to name it as it is. Yes.
Yeah, and that's not good.
Okay. And it's up to you as who runs the show to simply delete these comments, of course.
I do.
I do it too on my channel. Sometimes some people, what the fuck or whatever, and these words.
But I would like to have him on the show. Yes. I would like to cooperate. I would like, what is your new?
Want to ask him? Ask him. If he wants to be in the show, then he can.
Would be fun.
Then he can make everything right, because.
Yeah.
Well, then he can tell.
Then we send him new books to burn.
No, but at least he can tell us all infidels how to shoot properly.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one who knows.
And if you're a great person, you're also able to forgive. To say, okay, you talk bad, but we can be friends again.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I contact him, but I'm quite sure what he will say. He will say, you have all these assholes, these fakers on your show. I don't like like Lars Andersen.
Yeah, like Lars Andersen is still his big friend, And he posts, my friend, Lars Andersen, my friend this and that. Sometimes in early days, it was me. My friend, I mean him, and every photo he showed the book. Oh, he was so cute. And then he even asked me, here in Kansas, I have my archery range, and I see that you make a lot of business. Don't you want to come over to me and we work together, Said, no. Yeah, I only state facts, I don't make anyone.
These people are kind of fenced in their little world bubble, or how you call it, I don't know.
I think it's
There's
even a
one
problem with
fucking
maybe.
fly.
I think it's even a problem with drugs. Maybe when you smoke too much or the wrong stuff or something.
You know what? It's different.
You
I
get
thought a lot about this. It's not the drugs, but if you have mental or some kind of problems before, then these drugs, how you call it,
reinforce or multiply the
yeah. So it's not that some folks get paranoid by smoking.
No, they had it before. It was only subdue, and now it's big.
And the same is true. You know, when a dentist or a doctor is taking cocaine or even heroin, it will be no problem, because it don't will end on the street and like a junkie, because he has a good life, and on weekends he uses his drugs maybe, and that's no problem for nobody. It's just with the social and with the mental state what causes the problems, in my opinion.
But I think these are the people in the first place that take drugs.
Not necessarily, because when you think about all the guys which were scientists and experimented with the drugs and so on,
they do it controlled. And I mean, even when you see Jamiroquai is an insane musician, and he said, yes, I smoke a joint, or I take a little, but then I produce my music, because then it opens up another universe for my musical inspirations, but very controlled. Then might be okay.
It's the same like the dentist or the lawyer. They do it controlled. They say, okay, in the evening I smoke a joint and I go to work next morning, and nothing is wrong with it. It's the same.
But they have the mental strength to control it, so it doesn't get out of hand, I guess.
You know what? It's one of my favorite themes, issues, because this is very strongly connected to feeling like a victim. All the alcoholist guys and drug guys and
cigarette smokers.
No, cigarette smokers.
Oh, no. Why are they excluded?
No, but you don't smoke because you're a victim of society or a victim of something. You just, because nothing is wrong with smoking. What's the bad thing with smoking? Tell me.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the dosage. When you use it rarely, it's fine. When you smoke one box a day, it might have an effect on your health.
Yeah, and back then, when this all stuff came up, it's not healthy and so on. They, in the 60s and 70s, they used to smoke 3 packs a day because it was so cool to smoke. Of course, that can't be healthy. But
it's not as deadly as they tell you, and I believe that many people died from smoking because of the fear, or got lung cancer because they were so afraid. They knew, I do something wrong, I do something bad for my body, and then we are with fear again. What the problem we have right now? This fear causes the problems.
And look, it's the same like with the coronavirus. When you're going to the hospital, you get the sheet, you have to make your crosses. Are you drinking alcohol, or 1 bottle of beer or 2? Are you a smoker? Yes. 10 or more cigarettes or so. So this fact sheet is there, this documentary. And then 1 year later, you got a heart attack, and then you're at the victims of smoking. Or you got lung cancer, and of course he smoked. And that's the same, because this from Austria, this chamber of doctors president, Ärztekammer president, communist fucking socialist guy, goes into television studio and says, every year in Austria 30,000 people are dying from smoking cigarettes. And I think, how do you know? How do you know this? Just crazy statistics.
Of course, but statistics.
Yeah.
You always, whom you pay.
And I know a lot of persons, a lot of people say, I have to stop smoking. I have to stop smoking. Then I say, don't stop smoking. Stop smoking 2 packets. Smoke 10 to 20 cigarettes and everything is nice.
No, but look,
my opinion.
I had once a Russian girlfriend. She was from Siberia, a really pretty one. And when I got to know her, she was smoking. And then she always said, yeah, but I know you don't smoke and you don't like it, you know, when we kiss and blah, blah. I said, you know, but I know you as a smoker, so that's why it's not an issue for me. Yeah. And then one day she sat there with a cigarette and said, you know what? She threw the cigarette away, said, I stopped smoking now. And she stopped smoking without any bit of, I'm nervous now, I need to smoke a cigarette or whatever.
That's the thing. Look, I always say, all this how they call it in English, in German, the Abhängigkeit, the depending addiction, that's not true. Yeah. Because when you get into an airplane and you're flying 16 hours and you don't smoke, you're not addicted. It's just here.
It's a mental thing,
yeah. And all these, they say, I'm addicted and I'm this and that. These are kind of weaklings who need an excuse for, I stopped drinking, but then my mother died and I started again. And so, and there you are again. He's a victim of the circumstances. And that's the devil, not the drug and not the beer and not the smoke.
But we created a bunch of victims, and last time I called them snowflakes. Because on this video I made with Boris Johnson, I got in 1 week directly 11 dislikes. You know, normally on my videos I get 2, 3, and my Bo Krause most probably is always my one. Yeah. You always can see overnight. When in America it's morning, I get a dislike. And you know it's from America. So I get always 2, 3, 5 dislikes in the first 4 weeks, but 11 directly in a few days. Snowflakes.
Yeah. What you said about Boris Johnson?
No, because I saw this video of him shooting with pinch draw, this expensive bow from Decathlon, and I did a video and because I thought, what do you need to do to be a pro like Boris? So you need to have the mental preparation, and you know, made a 2-minute fun video.
Yeah, and you know what, Boris Johnson is such a difficult guy. You don't know if he even did it on purpose with this pinch draw. You don't know.
Yeah, the instructor showed him before with 3 fingers, then he drew with 4 fingers. The instructor turns away and he does pinch draw.
Yeah, so it
doesn't matter. I simply wanted to shoot as good as him.
And it can be that it was just a kind of boyish gesture to be funny, and you don't know.
Of course, it's like with Falco. You know Falco?
Of course.
Robert Hölzl. He was a complete normal guy, and then he said, "Oh, there's a camera coming, time for show." And then he was behaving again like he was always doing in front. Two personalities, of course.
But you know, he was really. I once met him because he grew up not far from here in Bad Tatzmannsdorf. His family came from. It's about 20 kilometers from here. Yeah. And they were kind of, I don't know, a wedding or something or so. But he was a heavy drinker. Really, and you know, to the bitter end. She couldn't drink anymore, and then one more. And so he was a kind, and also, of course, other drugs, cocaine and so on, and weed, of course. But he was a kind of genius. I liked him.
Genius, for sure.
And he, like Elvis Presley or some guys, he made up his own style.
Yeah, definitely.
You recognize his singing if you see his silhouette, and you know he was a big Elvis fan. Yeah, and so he copied this intro with the big writing, you know, from this 1968 Elvis show and so on, and also with his jackets and so on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, also the hairstyle you see, and And he was #1 in the United States.
Yes. An Austrian guy, huh?
Yeah.
But he was really a musical genius. He really did so different music, but it was really, wow, it's interesting.
Yeah, I like his music,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
And you know, they didn't play his music in Austrian radio stations because he don't needed support from the state. All these guys they hate. Andreas Gabalier or Helene Fischer, they hate because they are not depending on payment from the government, because they are able to fill a stadium or a big hall, music hall, and so are there no artists. These are just commercial music. It's not art, it's commercial music. Oh, I hate this. I hate this.
Yeah, you Austrians, yeah.
Yeah, in Germany it's the same.
Yeah, of course.
You're an artist if you're getting paid by the government. Then you're an artist, because an artist has to be poor. If an artist makes money, he's not an artist.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Even the surrealists saw it like this. When you take money for your artwork, then you're only, you produce.
They all were communists.
Of course.
They all were socialists, communists.
Yeah, of course.
Like Hitler.
That's why they didn't like Dali, because he got then his first.
But Dali was a rich guy.
Yeah, and he got some because of his
and if you're looking at the background of many of these artists, so most of them came from rich houses.
Yeah, of course. And then play the poor, and then
he cut off my ear, and then I'm an artist. Yeah. And they have to be desperate about the world. How evil everything and the bad companies and the capitalism and everything is bad, and the poor people and so on. If you like to be an artist, you have to talk like this, and you have to get destroyed by the world and die young, and then you're an artist. Yeah, and you have to write because you have a message to the world.
Yes, of course.
And it swamps it, not swamps, how it is, it pours out of you. It has to come out, and then you're writing this and or making this music, and oh, fuck them. Oh, I hate these guys.
What is an artist for you? How you define artist?
An artist is a craftsman who understands his craft, and more or less by accident, take a writer, he's writing a book which is still in the 200 years ago, which is still in a library today, or a picture is painted, a nice painting, and maybe he even don't know, but it's still in a museum today. In my opinion, when you are sitting down on the table and you think, now I'm painting art, or I'm writing art or literature, or it's true with every other stuff, then you're an asshole. You have to learn the craft. You have to know how it works. You have to be interested in everything, because only when you know a lot, all this knowledge can get into your work.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. And when you read some books and you can see it, oh, he wanted to be an artist when he wrote this sentence.
Yeah, of course.
Or lyrics, they're writing lyrics. Oh, crazy. Yeah. It's different, like Schiller or Goethe, if you write a ballad with a story in it. And in most cases, that's also one important thing with so-called artists. They always have to express their feelings.
Of course.
Because they are kind of egoists, because what they feel, if it's raining outside, that's worth it to get written down. Their mood. Oh. And I hate this. I don't like it.
So an artist is first of all a craftsman.
And a hard worker.
Of course.
Because look at like Helene Fischer or Elvis Presley or all these guys, they work hard. They work hard. I watched some clips with Elvis Presley and Anne Margaret on the weekend. And then I did a little research how many movies Elvis made in what. So in a kind of 10-year era, I don't know, he made 30 movies. So he made 3 movies a year.
That's a lot of work, yeah.
Yeah. Big productions. And in concerts, he gave more than 100 a year and so on. So this is hard work. This is not, oh, how I feel today.
Yeah.
And
or the other way around, when you see Gustave Flaubert, he was a writer, and he said it took me half a day to put a comma in this sentence and another half day to remove it again, because he was really filing on every sentence, sitting for 1 week on one sentence to make sure the sentence is now as perfect as it can get.
One of the writers who not thought he's an artist, even when he was surrounded in a kind of circle of artists in his youth, was Ernest Hemingway. In his writings, he says, "I'm worked on this. It was hard work, and I, like you said, I filed on this sentence because I like a good, clear sentence, and so on." And the guys who are thinking they are artists, they are thinking how it comes out of me. It's art.
Yeah, of course.
And that's very arrogant, no?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, the art is then, it's in German, it's called Schriftsteller. It's not writer. So you really, once you have your content there, what you want to write, then your work begins as a writer, that you put every sentence in a nice letter flow and short, long sentence, everything. Like André Breton said, the words need to make love together. They need to match. It needs to be harmonious. And this is where you give the book the tonality and the catch that you want to read it. Or like the other one said, either the writer or the reader needs to take an effort. So it's better the writer takes the effort and stress and work, that the reader has a nice life reading it.
And the only purpose of an artist is to entertain people, to amuse people, to making people laugh or cry. It doesn't matter. Because you said this with the sentence, with the length of the sentences, as a rule of thumb, I use it like that. I say when I'm describing something, whereas not a lot of action, I'm using longer sentences. In action
shorter
passages, I use shorter sentences.
Like when you think about the movie, when there's the action scene, there are short
faster
cuts.
cuts.
And when they have a long dialogue, then it's a long cut. Of course, makes sense. When it's about information, longer sentence, and when it's about action, that's something happening, short, of course.
It's a kind of written thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is how you give your book.
Come here.
Now comes Millie again.
Yeah, she's making a lot of noise. I don't know what's.
You need another cat and call her Vanilli.
No. Vanilli. Here is my dear. I think she got her own fans on the show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You need to
hello.
My tinfoil hat on it again, and then it's fine.
Hello.
Or the Chinese.
Give
Are
me
you from China?
Yes, I'm from Wuhan.
I wish she would smack you once.
Oh, she likes it.
Yes, and show your cat a while. Now people say already, I need a cat now too, because everybody shows off his kitties.
She's like a girlfriend, because we're talking so long here. She starts to making bad thing in the kitchen and rumoring around. Yeah.
Lack of attention.
But then when you
get her,
take her, then she, no, I don't like it.
Don't touch me.
Oh, you horrible girl.
Yeah.
She's so nice.
I'm more a dog person,
Me not.
Yeah.
Millie, be nice. She don't like to. Look.
Millie. Millie,
you know,
Millie, there's something moving. But she doesn't
look
realize.
at Armin. No. And you know what? My girlfriend had has a how are they called? A Maine Coon, big, same age like her, like Millie. And she's very beautiful with long hair, and and she always looks calm and slowed down. And Millie always looks like a little devil. Because she's a simple house cat, you know, not a kind of special breed. She's always active and always making pranks to me.
Keeps you entertained. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so
fine. Knife of the week.
Oh yeah, knife of the week.
Knife of the week. I start because I have it already prepared. Another throwing knife, one which I really like a lot. When I saw them first, they came out there from Russia.
Oh, looks good.
Oh, nice ones. These are the Stork from Le Fuchs, and they are really nice. They are thick. You can throw them in every way you want. These things simply are nice. So they are not sharp here, but they have a nice point. They stick in everything.
Look good.
They are nice. So a set of 3, you get them in a nice leather sheet. They're really nice. And what they did now recently, and of course I had to get them. They made the same ones as small ones. They're so nice indoors. You have a cardboard box and you simply stand there quickly. So nice. And
looks great. Looks great looking knives. And what's the price of them?
The set of the small ones is, I think, 60, 70, 80 euros something. And the big ones, I don't know, 150 or something. So not very expensive for what they are. They are not
looks nice. Yeah, and the nice sheath. Yeah.
And they are really cool.
You know, back then I showed you this Australian knife made by Dave Keeble.
Yeah.
Nice knife. Yeah, and from my, I don't know in what years, it was in the 90s, I guess. I got another one from Dave Keeble from my hunting buddies for a birthday gift. And it's a really lovely little knife.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah.
They called it Cat. The name of this one is Cat Skinner.
Show it to Millie if she
Millie,
likes
look. It's a kind of hiding, skinning, but I also use it sometimes to eat sausage or so. It's a really lovely little knife you can put it on the belt, and nice sheets and nice thing.
Cute. Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah. See, the blade is almost as small as the knife I showed you last time. You tell me, it's not a knife. You know, we are not Crocodile Dundee. This is a knife.
This is nice.
Of course. And it can do a lot of damage if you don't have anything else. Better you have this than nothing.
Yeah, you can't use this to stab deer or something, but all the field work you can do with it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay, cool. Very nice.
Yeah. It's like Bärentöter and Henry Stutzen.
Exactly. Yeah.
With Karl May. Our listeners don't know it, of course.
Silberbüchse und wie hat Old Shatterhand? Nein, was? I mix it.
Winnetou had the Silberbüchse.
Genau, yeah.
It would be translated silver rifle, Büchse's rifle.
Yeah.
And Old Shatterhand had the Henry Stutzen. Henry Carabine.
Carabine, maybe.
And the Bear Killer. It was a double-barreled muzzle loader with a big bore. Yeah.
Nice. Good.
Was a great talk.
Huh?
Was a great talk.
It was interesting. You should really check if Bo wants to come to the show.
Yeah, I will write him.
But you know that his name is Don, not Bo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And you know, I think he's from Sweden or Norway.
He said that his ancestors are somewhere. That's why he calls himself Viking. Yes, of course. It can happen. I mean, Krause is not really an American name, I think, right?
Sounds like German or so.
Yeah, more like.
You know because you say Krause. You know where this worldwide phrase "that's okay" comes from? Okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
No.
I don't know if it's true, but I had the story that at the Ford company, at the Ford car company, they had a German, and his name was Krause, and he was the inspector of the cars, of the finished cars, and I think his name was Otto Krause. And so when he signed the sheet of the new car with OK, and then it came, this one is OK. He was a kind of quality standard. If it's okay written on the car, it's okay. It's best quality.
Makes sense.
I don't know if it's true, but if not, it's a nice story.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I like stories like that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Otto Krause.
Especially Ford always has a bad time in America. When you see the comparison advertisements, when you see a fieldway and there's a tree stump, and then you see the tree stump damaged and there's Ford written under it, and you see the tree stump still alive and it was a Chevy. You see the differences.
This Henry Ford was a clever guy.
Yeah, of course. He revolutionized this in the time, yeah, of course.
Yeah. And he was as clever to pay his workers as much so they can buy a Ford car.
Of course. I mean, he even said, my workers, how was this? I forgot now. He said, it's because he pays his workers good. He has good workers.
Yeah.
So you can't expect, to pay like here they pay €5 an hour, and then they expect you're a perfect waiter.
Yeah.
They have no idea.
Wasn't it also Ford who built the whole city in Southern America?
I don't know.
I think
you can Google that and tell us next time.
Okay.
And then you have something.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Production line for cars or what?
No, I think they wanted to harvest rubber for the tires.
Okay.
And so he made I think it was Ford who made a complete city with a factory for rubber and so on.
Maybe.
And he put in the millions of money.
Yeah, but
Ford doesn't work.
Don't exist. Tires are Goodyear or or whatever.
I don't know. I have to check it out.
BF Goodrich,
Dunlop. Yeah.
All the good stuff.
Millie. She plays with the quiver. It bites in the fletching.
It's nice for her teeth. You should give her a toothbrush. They like chewing on a toothbrush.
Really?
This is the gum massage. Yeah, they like. Give her one. She likes it.
Yeah.
Put a bit of
now she got from my girlfriend a brush like that, and so I have to. But she don't keeps. She don't stays.
You need to be faster. Yeah, that's why fast shooting, Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So was nice talking.
It was nice talking to you, Peter. It was nice to catch up.
Yeah,
and can catch up too. And even in the last time, we had a 2.5 hour video, and some really wrote. I watched now the whole video. I think it was Miguel. He really sits at home and watches. Respect, Miguel. Respect. Shout out. Yes, we should always have a shout out to one of our viewers. Huh?
I don't know. We wouldn't do it if it would not be fun also for and a pleasure for us, because I really enjoyed the talk to Meg. It was such a nice, pleasant talk.
Yeah.
I totally enjoyed it.
Yeah. And until now, I enjoyed every talk. Every
person,
of
course, because this one was a longer one. Yeah.
Everyone has something to say and something to tell, and it's always related with archery, which is our passion. And that's why I really like it. So that's
and like we said, even when you not agree with everything, but you learn that one sentence, that one trick, that one idea about something, that one thought, and that's always worth talking to people.
And maybe people get a little more open-minded, don't see archery as a religion and I shoot now 3 fingers and only this exists. So simply open up your mind.
Western and Eastern.
Yeah. We need to combine it. East meets West.
Western.
Eastern. Wuhan and Kansas. No, okay. Yeah, we leave it. It's now nothing properly coming out of my brain. Not that anytime, anywhere, something properly came out, but you know what I mean.
Maybe it's like with the gremlins because it's like late.
Yeah.
So
Don't feed them and don't wash them, and of course, you never know.
Okay.
I will shoot now my biggest bow I have in my arsenal. You know,
wow.
my special. Wow. And look at the string angle. Now it's 90 degrees. It's not that efficient. But this one really kicks arrows away like nothing.
It's the same, I think, like Cupido had, like the little guy.
Not so advanced. These are two safety pins opened up and put here together. So
safety pin power.
Yeah, I made from Yumi to asymmetrical bows, everything. Even
I asked you before, but what kind of string is on that?
It's a dental floss, where you clean.
Okay.
Because nice. This is I don't have some.
Show us the arrows.
Yeah, I shot them somewhere and I don't find them anymore. I drilled a hole in front and I put a piece of a needle in it and super glued it and made a whipping around.
In a toothstick or so, or what?
Yeah, in a toothstick. Yeah. But in the longer tooth, there are these mid-size skewers where you pick
for grilling.
Exactly, but the small ones, and they were just nice. Yeah.
You know, there are even some of these brochettes, I think they're called, I don't know, made from bamboo. So maybe these are pet arrows.
Yeah. And you can make music.
Wow, like Jimi Hendrix.
Wait a second. It's a bit too silent. We need.
You have to practice a little. Next time you play us how was this? Was Jimi Hendrix played this?
Smoke on the Water? No, that wasn't.
No, that American.
All Along the Watchtower. He played along.
No, he played
the
American
anthem.
Hymn. You know.
American anthem.
Yeah.
Why should I play the American anthem? When Trump, my friend, is president, then I will play it.
Okay. I really hope he will get back.
Hey, this is.
He's
working. I had last time a phone call with an American. It was today or yesterday, and I said, "Look, if Trump would be there would be no pandemic anymore."
Imagine the pictures we are now seeing from the Mexican border with the border guards with the horses beating up these refugees. If this would have happened when Trump was president. But with Biden, it's okay.
No Biden, Afghanistan, everything is fine.
As long as Trump was, all the Democrats say, there's no problem at the border. Everything is okay.
Yeah.
Just lies, fake news.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
What can we do?
We are fighting on. That's all we can do.
Yeah, and wake up people, wake up. Don't watch Wag the Dog, this old movie, then you see what media is doing. Or the other one you said, War Machine.
Yeah, have you watched it?
No, not yet, but I found it already, so I will watch it soon.
Watch it.
And then you know what media is doing, and then stop believing what CNN or all these Fox News. It's hilarious how this is.
Yesterday, I saw a podcast of Michael Shermer. He's the publisher of the Skeptic magazine in the United States, and they're talking about French themes and books and so on. And he had a guy for talking guest, who wrote a book about the New York Times and how but these are kind of more leftist people, not right-wing people, this Shermer and this guy, how they are both Jewish, and the New York Times was founded or bought by a Jew, no problem. How the New York Times faked history with the news from the Third Reich, because they didn't mention the Holocaust, because the New York Times journalists had access to good news stories in Germany when Hitler was around, when the Third Reich was. And so they had a kind of agreement. You don't mention this, and then you're getting an interview from our, I don't know. So all fucked up.
Of course.
Yeah. And you see now, and that's a newspaper. It was back then. They had offices in Germany, all around the world in these days, and run by Jews. And even they didn't mention this. They published the headline that Poland attacked Germany. That the propaganda of the Nazis.
Yeah.
And they didn't ask a Polish journalist or politician how it was. They just published the propaganda of the Nazis.
Yeah, of course.
So you can't believe anything.
Yeah, journalism, there is no journalism anymore.
No.
You simply copy paste what somebody gives you. So this needs to be in the 6 o'clock news, or this needs to be in the tomorrow issue of the. Right.
They don't fact check it. It's all lies.
Yeah, the only because they have no time. The fact checkers are all working for Facebook, so that's why it's.
They're looking out for hate speech, and so.
Yeah.
You know, I know it firsthand. When I was to China, I prepared an article I wrote myself, and put some nice pictures, photographs, and I sent this article I wrote myself to different newspapers, and they brought it like without changing nothing.
Copy paste done. Yeah.
They didn't did research if this is true.
Yeah.
If you know, and so it was an old sayer. Just give me the pictures, I make the story.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like that.
Yeah.
Yep. But of course, everything what I wrote was true.
Okay.
Because I'm not a journalist.
Of course. Yeah. That's true. Okay, though.
Good night.
Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Don't forget
Have a nice day.
to subscribe to our channels. As I said in my last video, which was up today, that 80% of my watchers are not subscribed yet. So if they all subscribe,
I thought 80% of your watchers are women.
No, 98% male and 2% women or something.
Unmarried women.
I don't know. This is the YouTube doesn't specify that one. Oh yes. Okay. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I see you next time.